been asked to address you with a tribute to EliJares-Erijman, a scientist and a teacher at the University of Buenos Aires, the chemistry department, who tragically passed away at the age of 50 on September 29, 2011, almost exactly 7 months ago, from a fulminating cancer. I regard it as a privilege, although a very difficult challenge to do so. También lamento tener que dirigirles estas palabras en inglés, las circunstancias de la conferencia me lo obligan. It is, of course, tragic when any person, including a relative or a colleague, has to suffer and succumb to cancer. Unfortunately, it happens much too often. Why are we taking note of it on this occasion in the context of this conference? The answer is simple. Elizabeth, Ellie, to her friends and colleagues, Liz, to her parental family, was an extraordinary person. She was also a close friend and partner of the Max Planck Society, and thus represents perfectly the spirit of this conference, that is the manifestation of the close relationship between the Argentine scientific community and the Max Planck Society. The splendid new center next to this tent is a tribute to the vision and commitment to basic and applied research on the part of the Argentine government and enterprising scientists, people such as Minister Lino Barañao and Eduardo Arts, the director of the Biomedicine Institute. However, it's also a fact that the Max Planck Society has been well integrated into the fabric of Argentine science for decades, as exemplified by the award last year, the Raíces Prize, to Silvia Paslavsky, the most devoted and enterprising bridge between the Max Planck Society and Argentine science since 1976. And dozens, perhaps hundreds of other students, postdocs, and visiting scientists, including the chairman of this meeting now, have promoted the very productive interchange between Argentine and German science communities as well. A distinguished example is the co-chairman, as I said, of the session, or the chairman of the session, who was many years in Göttingen. All right, let me just find my way here. So, who was EliJares-Erijman? As you see here, she was married to Leonardo Erijman, 2 daughters, Paula and Florencia. She got her licenciatura in '84, her PhD in '89 at the UBA in Exactas. Was then a postdoc in the United States until '93, and after '93, between '93 and '96, a postdoc in our institute in Göttingen, the Max Planck Institute for Biophysical Chemistry. She then returned to the UBA, became an assistant professor, an associate professor, and was the head of the Max Planck Partner Group as of 2004. Now here's some more pictures of Ellie. She had many ways of looking at people, but it was always with a smile that you see in these very nice pictures of her. And of course the family, here's the family on a beach in Uruguay or Brazil. 2 daughters, beautiful daughters, Paula, a little older now, Paula studying history at the university in Florencia, just starting her secondary school. And then we have her parents, Ellie with her proud parents, Mother Sarah and Father David, a medical doctor who will be celebrating his 97th birthday this coming December. And I'm delighted that the family is well represented here with us today. And finally, 2 brothers, Daniel and Edgardo, who are also here, who have distinguished careers in industry and medicine, respectively, and as shown here in an uncharacteristically serious pose. Now here we have Ellie as a postdoc in Urbana, hard at work. It may not look that way, but actually she was very productive, working on difficult natural products, as the one shown on the right. Actually, that picture was taken many years later, and it's probably the only picture of Ellie with a mate in her hand. At the same time, Leo was working with the great Argentine scientist, Gregorio Weber, who in my estimation is shown over here, would be a candidate, should have been a candidate for at least 2 Nobel Prizes based upon his pioneering research. Now, it happened that a staff member of our department, Bob Clegg, was on sabbatical with Gregorio in '93, and after consultation with everybody and a visit of mine to Urbana, Ellie and Leo decided to join our group as an additional postdoc experience before coming back to Argentina. So Ellie came to work in my lab, and Leo with Bob Clegg. Ellie's postdoc experience was enjoyable for both parties and very productive. She worked on strange forms of DNA and interactions of ligands, and one I cite one paper which landed a cover on the cover of Journal of Molecular Biology, and had the best reviews of any paper that I have been associated with before or since. Well then, Eli and her family returned to Argentina. She reestablished herself at the UBA and Leo at the Institute of Genetic Engineering, Molecular Biology, the INCEBI. Not easy, but they were persevering people, and they managed to establish working groups and research programs. And of course, Eli is based upon chemical strategies applied to biological problems, a field that we now call chemical biology. We see some of the protagonists, the first two graduate students, Luciana Giordano and Carla Spagnolo, and Lia Pietrasanta, former PhD student of our chairman, Francisco Barrantes, also spent time in Göttingen, and she established the Center of Advanced Microscopists, which still exists, of course, at the university. Eli was a chemist, first of all, but I kind of infected her with the biophysical approach, and we had the spirit of Gregorio Weber guiding us. And so most of the tools that we used in our work were based on fluorescence and then imaging, because we all wanted to look at living cells. National and international grants were obtained, so the work went really quite well. And here we see a review that we published in 2003. It was a big hit, with almost 600 citations to date. And it shows two major themes in Eli's lab: the development of new biosensors based on nanoparticles and organic molecules. And it occurred to Eli sometime at one point when she was visiting us that QDOTs could be applied to study single transduction eukaryotic cells, and this was an insight that led to many, many developments in our lab and in other labs. It was really a brilliant idea. And she also worked on photochromism, as is shown here in the example of what's called PC-FRET, molecules that switch between two forms and can be used to measure interactions of molecules. Well, all this went so well that it was decided to establish a partner group of the Max Planck, with the Max Planck Institute in Göttingen, with Eli as the head here in Argentina. And in fact, hers was the first such group in, as far as I know, in Latin America. And as you can see in this slide, there are actually 9 partner groups in Argentina. I understand there's going to be another one, so there will be 10. And what I've plotted over here is the ratio of partner groups per million inhabitants, and you see that Argentina and Uruguay are way ahead of China and India that hardly even appear on this slide over here. And in fact, with the next partner group, we'll catch up to Uruguay. Uruguay has only one group, but they only have 3.5 million people. I've made the calculation that this means that there's one partner group per 5 million. The chance of getting a partner group is 1 in 5 million, which I believe is better than getting the lottery. So that's not so bad. The financial rewards, of course, are somewhat different. Well, then Eli acquired a Max Planck kind of identity, as shown on this slide, and indicating that the applications of her work were, of course, in single transduction and in Parkinson's disease, but based upon the design and use of nanostructures. And she was extremely good at that, with ideas every week, almost every day. It was constant struggle to keep up with her innovative spirit. Another group picture here. Some of these people are in the audience. Maria here, and I don't know if Jonathan Fauerbach is here. He better be, because I'm going to talk about him later. And Carla Spagnolo. I think they're all around. And of course, this had an international character, not only with Germany, but with other countries, as shown over here. There were people moving back and forth. And in fact, I'm proudest of all of this, of the slide I'm going to show you after this one. But I want to say, first of all, that one of Eli's great attributes was to attract and train extremely capable and highly motivated individuals, and it's been a great privilege, an honor for me to work and to grow with them, and I'm very thankful that that situation persists. And the fact that such people even exist is a tribute to the Argentine system of science education and promotion of research. And you all saw the nice video last night, and Lino didn't ask me to make this statement. I really feel this is true. Now, the slide I'm most proud of is this one. It shows the people who traveled to Göttingen from Argentina, from Eli's lab and from other labs with which she collaborated here in Argentina. You see names here, many names that you've heard about already. You'll hear from some of them. For example, let's see, where's Claudio? Yeah, Claudio Fernandez. And I should say that it was Eli's suggestion that Claudio Fernandez come to Göttingen and work in the department of NMR, Department of Christian Giesinger and Alpha Synuclein. And as you will see later, and I've already heard, this has led to great developments and changed the lives of a number of people. So that was Eli's doing. Hernan Greco's another person who went abroad and is coming back, so I'm pretty happy about that. And Carlos Bertoncini, I'm told, is going to come back. Soledad Celes. Some of these people aren't in Buenos Aires. I'll show later in my other talk what the implications of this are. But they all worked in Eli's lab in some way at some time doing their careers. Here's a group of Argentines in 2003. I showed this to President Kirchner when he visited the Max Planck Society. We had 20% of all Argentines in the Max Planck Society in our lab on that day. And you can see how happy they are. And people come to Göttingen and are happy working there, except for this Mexican over here that doesn't like to be with so many Argentines at the same time. And of course, there were many themes that Eli developed. These are some of them. I'm not going to go through this list, obviously, but just to indicate that she really came up with a number of innovative nanotools, and this led to new biological paradigms. I think the scientific output of her group, working alone and also in collaboration with others, including our group, has been really quite tremendous. And this all led to Eli's creating a nanotools lab in the newly established Center for Multidisciplinary Research on the second floor of the second tower in the University City. And here you see some of the graduate students that are still working there. Well, actually, Jimena Giudice, she graduated last year. This has been really a very good development for the Department of Organic Chemistry and for the faculty as a whole. This led also to equipping the lab to a very good state so that there's advanced imaging and spectroscopy techniques, and this has prospered. Well, then disaster struck in 2010. Eli was diagnosed with gastric cancer. I will not attempt to describe what this period was like for her and for those around her, for her family. But she fought with all her willpower and absolutely convinced she would win the battle. She kept her spirit up and is shown over here climbing a tree while undertaking chemotherapy a year ago. Well, while she was gone from the university because of her sickness, others took over, and I acknowledge then the contributions of Carla Spagnuolo and Federico Coluzio, who really kept the lab going in accordance with, of course, Eli's wishes and directions. Now, Eli died, as I already said, on September 29th, 2011, and her suffering and her death were tremendous blows to her family, to her colleagues, to all of us. But we, among other things, we were determined to keep the lab going, and so it was agreed that the lab would stay in operation, known as the Grupo EliJares, and two professors here at the university, Lia Pietrasanta and Fernando Stefani, who was a brilliant physicist who returned to Argentina after many years in Germany. They decided, and with my help a little bit, to keep the group going, at least to try to do everything possible so that they could maintain their work level and of course finish their theses and everything. And this has worked very well, and we're happy that the university and the granting agencies have supported this a great deal. Well, Eli was a devoted citizen of the university and of Argentine science community, and this is shown over here. She received many prizes. She was on many committees, and she had very good luck in securing funds and generating intellectual property. She was really an all-around person. And because of this, she was nominated for the very prestigious UNESCO L'Oreal Prize for Outstanding Women Scientists in 2011. She was a great candidate. I think she would have gotten this prize. You can see here it says that science cannot deprive itself of the full scientific potential of half the world's population. And I somehow wish she would have gotten this before she died. Well, I'm almost at the end here. I hope my German colleagues don't mind if I say a few words in Spanish at this point. Nuestros sentimientos por una persona querida, que sea un miembro de la familia, un amigo, un colega, no dejan de existir con la muerte de ese individuo. Los sentidos se intensifican debido al dolor de la separación. Termino dirigiéndome directamente a él y seguramente acompañado por muchos de ustedes presentes. Eli, te agradecemos el honor y privilegio de haberte conocido. Te agradecemos el honor y privilegio de haberte conocido, el enriquecimiento de nuestra vida a través de tu amistad, generosidad, honestidad, inspiración y sí, hasta tus chistes. Te queremos, te extrañamos.